Deep inside, I wasn't actually in pain, but I had to make my body feel it. The physical pain allowed me to channel my emotions, causing my nerves to tighten and tears to gush out. "What's going on? Are you okay, brother-in-law?" Liang Lei looked shocked and completely lost at the sight of me. In his eyes, I had always been the strong, supportive brother-in-law, but now, seeing me so vulnerable, he couldn't process it. "Lei, your sister. She's seeing someone else," I said, pulling him into a hug as my tears and snot ran down his neck. "No way, brother-in-law, don't say that. What's really going on? Tell me what happened." He gently pushed me back, trying to stay calm, but his face showed concern. After all, cheating wasn't something to be taken lightly. I laid out all my suspicions about my wife having an affair with Song, the bank manager. I even showed him the evidence I'd gathered. "Lei, I don't want to live anymore. I love your sister so much. I've made her the most important part of my life, and now she..." I broke down into tears again, sobbing uncontrollably. While crying, I slammed my head hard against the closet nearby. The impact was severe, and since I did it intentionally, Lei couldn't stop me in time. Blood immediately started pouring from a gash on my forehead, staining the floor. Honestly, in my revenge plan, I never really wanted to target the guy she cheated with. It felt pointless. But Song? I despised him. He's in poor shape, yet he's out there messing around with women. For what? Just to have some new experiences in bed? At this point, Lei was losing it. Judging by his reaction, Song might end up regretting this sooner than later. I pulled out some old tea I'd been saving, brewed it, and lit a cigarette. I hadn't planned on enacting my revenge so quickly, but Lei's impulsive behavior sped things up. Now, I had no choice but to act faster. I turned on my computer and logged into my cloud storage. Every time my wife cheated, I made a folder documenting it. Each folder contained text files, photos, and videos. The text files detailed which hotel and room she stayed in, with whom, how long she stayed, and when she left. There were always pictures and videos to back it up. Inside every folder was also a specific photo. The paternity test report of me and my daughter, Rue. I stared at the screen's bottom corner, 27 folders in total. In the past 3 years, I had caught her cheating 27 times. Who knows how many more times she had managed to keep hidden. When you do the math, the frequency of her infidelity wasn't exactly low. I compiled everything into a compressed file and highlighted a few of the more damning videos. Then, I created a link to the files. I didn't send it out immediately, though. I planned to wait until the early hours of the next morning. When I did send it, I intended to share it with our family group chat, which included both our relatives and a few mutual friends. Of course, I'd love to send it directly to the wives of these men, but unfortunately, I didn't have their contact information. I'd have to wait for the right moment for that. After brewing a few rounds of tea, I felt slightly more composed and headed straight to my in-laws' house. I had a key to my father and mother-in-law's place. At this hour, they weren't home yet. I collapsed between the sofa and the coffee table, reopening the scab on my head so the blood could flow again. I then turned on all the apps on my phone, draining its battery until it automatically shut off. I heard footsteps in the stairwell, followed by the familiar sound of my in-laws talking. They seemed to be discussing whether Liang Lei's recent engagement could help him change his old ways. When I heard the key turning in the door, I suddenly felt a pang of regret. Was this the right thing to do? Was I going too far? Maybe this revenge was too dark, too twisted. As I started to waver, I heard my mother-in-law say how grateful she was that Liang Yin had married a good man. That was it. Her words reignited my anger and reaffirmed my decision. Liang Yin, I've treated you so well. Why would you betray me like this? Did you ever think about how I'd feel? Did you consider the consequences? Did you even think about what would happen to our son and daughter after the divorce? My mother-in-law shrieked the moment she turned on the lights and saw me on the ground. At first, she was shocked, but when she recognized me, she ran over. Chun Peng? What happened? Old Liang, call 911, quickly. The sight of my blood clearly panicked her, and she started frantically directing my father-in-law. Mom, Dad, I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. It's all my fault. I cried as I clung to her, allowing years of suppressed feelings to pour out. My breakdown terrified her, but it also tugged at her heart. She was an old mother after all, and my hysteria scared her but also made her feel sorry for me. Mom, it's all my fault. I've let Lei down. I can't find him. I continued to lean into the story about my brother-in-law, never directly outing my wife. Even though Lei was irresponsible, he was still their son, and using him as my excuse was the safest move I had.